Hello everyone, welcome to GR IAS Academy's daily editorial analysis. My name is Harish Amiti. Today I am presenting you editorials of 14th October 2023 from The Hindu. These are our topics for discussion today. So let us begin. So our first topic is Israel-Palestine issue. You all must be knowing this is the burning issue, trending issue. This has been in news for the past 1 week. So on 7th October, a terrorist group called Hamas, operating from the Gaza Strip, attacked the country of Israel, and there has been ongoing war between this Hamas and Israel since 7th October. I have already explained in one of my previous videos what is this war and the whole history, but I am not satisfied with the audio of that previous video, so let me explain it here again. So first understand the today's news article. So as shown here, there are multiple news articles regarding the same news. First is our editorial highlighting the India's balancing policy between Israel and Palestine. So India wants to maintain relations between both Israel and Palestine, who are having opposite interest. So India is having a tough time balancing the relations between these two countries. Relations with these two countries. So this article discusses about that. We will go in depth in next slides. And this second news article says that whatever the normalization that Saudi Arabia and Israel is going through, Saudi Arabia is the leader of the Arab countries. There are Arab countries in West Asia and North Africa, and these Arab countries are historically against the Israel because these Arab countries are Muslim and Israel is the Jewish country. So historically both are against each other, but now the relations between these Arabian Muslim countries and Israel are getting normalized. So this one of the motive behind this current terror attack is to disrupt this normalization of relations. So this author of this news article is saying that Hamas terrorist organization was successful in achieving an aim of disrupting the normalization process, because now it reminded Saudi Arabia that before going further, it needs to sort out the historical issue of Israel and Palestine. So this third article, see here, protests across West Asia supporting Palestinians. So I will in detail explain in next slide what is Palestine and what is Israel. So all the Muslim countries across West Asia are supporting the cause of Palestine. So there is a very delicate issue here. Now India is having a tough time balancing this because some countries are supporting Israel, like USA and Western countries are supporting Israel. There are Muslim countries supporting Palestine. So India would not be like to have taken one side. So India wants to balance both countries. So look at the geography first. So understand that whole issue is originating here. See, this is Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Egypt. Here is Israel, a small, very small. Whole dispute belongs to the very small region. Syria, Lebanon, Iraq. So you need to remember geography. GS1 in physical geography comes here. So understand the whole geography for the purpose of understanding international geography, physical geography in GS paper 1. So we have identified where is Israel. Now zoom in. Here is the zoom in. Here is the Jordan, Egypt. This is the Saudi Arabia. Here is the Syria. So understand these physical features. Golan Heights. Now this is the West Bank. West Bank is nothing but the current Palestine we are talking about. Here is the Dead Sea. Now there is something called Jordan River. This is called Jordan River. So left side is the Mediterranean Sea. So our whole dispute is between this Mediterranean Sea and the Jordan River. So why it is called West Bank? This region of Palestine is called West Bank because it is on the west side, on the west bank of the Jordan River. So it is called West Bank. So notice this city of Tel Aviv. Earlier it used to be the capital of Israel, but now Jerusalem is the capital of Israel. Intentionally, Israel has moved its capital to Jerusalem because Jerusalem is a historical city having importance and sacredness amongst the religions of Christianity, Islam, also Judaism. These three religions, Judaism, the religion of Jews, Islam, the religion of Muslims, and Christianity, the religion of Christians, all these three religions have some sacred value for the city of Jerusalem, sacred. So I mean this city is a pious city for the all three religions. So all these religions want to pray within that city of Jerusalem, but mostly Israel has the control of over the city of Jerusalem as of now. So see here, this small strip means small piece of land called Gaza here. So here is the whole dispute is going on. So what is this Gaza strip? We will discuss. So this terrorist attack from Hamas originated from this Gaza strip. This small Gaza strip on the southwest side of Israel is being operated by a group called Hamas. It is resorting to terrorist attacks, so it is seen as a terrorist group by many countries. So the whole dispute right now between this Gaza strip and Israel, the current war between this Gaza strip and Israel, this West Bank is not involved in the current war, in the present war in 2023. So when people say Palestine, they refer to these two pieces. One is West Bank, one is Gaza Strip, both of them together called Palestine. Why? Because historically, all these three parts, this Israel, West Bank and Gaza Strip, this whole thing is the country called Palestine. By 1900, take the year 1900, there was no Israel. There was only a country called Palestine occupying this whole region. But Jews trace their ancient times to the city of Jerusalem. As I told you, this city is sacred to all the three religions, Judaism, Islam, and Christianity. So Jews trace their ancestors to this land also. So historically, Jews have been persecuted everywhere for various reasons and stereotypes. Jews have been persecuted by many people historically. So some Jews felt that this is happening because we don't have a homeland. Jews are spread across the world. So it is better for all the Jews to form a land of their own. And they gave a name to this imaginary concept called Israel. So by year 1897, this concept of Israel got into the minds of many people, and many Jews started migrating to this region, but it was very slow. When it got a push is that you must have heard of a person called Hitler. So this person called Hitler came into power in Germany in 1930s. So this Hitler is very racist. Hitler has many stereotypes about Jews. He hates Jews. So he started killing Jews on mass scale. Very inhuman, very brutal way. So it is called Holocaust. So what Hitler did to Jews is called Holocaust. He killed millions and millions of Jews. So suddenly uh, Jews who are being persecuted in Europe started running to the this land what they call Israel. So now Jews gathered here. Arabian Muslims in the name of Palestine was already here. This is their homeland as per their opinion. Now Jews came here. They also started to call this their homeland. Now you have two groups of people having a imagination of nation related to the same land. So in the same way, India was being ruled by British in 1947, and there are two concepts of countries called India and Pakistan. And British did nothing except raising these communal issues between two. Here also British did the same. This region was ruled by the British. So now there are two calls for a nations called Israel and Palestine. Palestine already there. Now British did nothing. There were communal rights between Jews and Muslims. So finally in 1948, 1947, 1948, I'm explaining this issue orally because this is not related to the current article. I'm just giving you the background to make you understand the whole issue. Okay, you can refer to the one of my previous videos just last week. Please search it. I have clearly explained the whole Israel and Palestine. I have given some notes also. I'm just giving you the background here in detail. In next slides, we will get to our notes of the current article. So in 1947, British government has recommended the issue for UN. So they asked a solution. They asked UN to give a solution. So UN gave a solution called two nation theory. Two nation theory. See here on the left side. two-state solution. This two-state solution was given by the United Nations. So they said divide this land between Arab Muslims and Jews, Israel, Jews who are calling Israel. So, but in this two-state solution, UN gave a map, and in that map, most majority of land was given to the Jews for forming Israel. But Jews are the minority. Palestinian Muslims were the majority in 1947. But the majority of people got the minority land, and minority people got the majority land. So it was not acceptable to the Palestinians. And now there was a war between Israel and Palestine. After the UN plan, now there was an outright war between these Jews of Palestine, Jews of Israel, and Muslims of Palestine. And in that war, Jews won the war. So Israel, a country, became the reality. Now Israel has occupied more land than the UN recommended plan. So not only they have occupied more land, now this is the reality. Whatever the current picture, see, I'm removing all the ink. See the current picture now. Now this is the result of the 1947-48 war, in which Israel has won. After 1947-48 war, this is the reality. Palestinians got reduced to this small part called West Bank and this left side small part called Gaza Strip. Rest all become Israel after the 1947-48 war. Later Israel went to war with many of the bordering countries, Egypt, Jordan, Syria and everything. Always Israel had won, except one or two setbacks, but mostly Israel has won. So there has been a historical antagonism between these neighboring Muslim countries and Israel because of the Palestinian issue. Because Israel, there are some people in this Israel community, they don't want Palestine to exist. They want the whole region of this land to Israel alone. So they don't want Palestine to exist beside them. And there is a group called Hamas in this Gaza Strip. And this Hamas want whole thing to get Palestine only. Hamas don't want Israel to exist. So there are extremists on both sides, making the issue very complex. So I hope you have understood the Israel-Palestine conflict history and what is Gaza and Hamas. Gaza is a territory. Hamas is a group operating from Gaza. So this Gaza Strip is being operated by Hamas, and this West Bank is being operated by a organization called Palestinian National Authority. Palestinian National Authority. This Palestinian National Authority was ousted from Gaza Strip in 2006 by this Hamas group. So Gaza Strip came under the control of Hamas, and this West Bank is now under the control of Palestinian Authority. So this is the history. This is the past. Now, over the years, the antagonism between Israel and the neighboring countries got slowed down. So one by one, Arabian countries realized that Israel is becoming very powerful. There is no point in making this country an enemy. So slowly, one by one, countries coming and making Israel a friend. So Saudi Arabia and Israel are becoming friends with the help of USA. USA is mediating between all these countries and Israel. So USA is mediating between the Jew country, Israel, and the Muslim countries. Similarly, US has mediated something called Abraham Accords. So two countries, UAE and Bahrain, both are Arabian Muslim countries. So US has mediated Abraham Accords between UAE and Bahrain. So through these Abraham Accords, these two countries established diplomatic relations between Israel. What is diplomatic relations? So when a country has a diplomatic relation with another country, their ambassador or high commissioner will come to India, and a representative of India will be present in their country. So you must have heard of a consulate, okay, or foreign office. So these are diplomatic relations, means there will be a representative of each country in the other country. When there are no relations, there will not be any representative in the other country. If you see now, there will not be a representative of American in Iran, because both countries are at full antagonism with each other. Both countries hate each other. So there is no representative of Iran present in USA, and there is no representative of USA present in Iran. So through this Abraham Accords, these two countries, UAE, United Arab Emirates, and Bahrain, established diplomatic relations with the Israel. Similarly, Saudi Arabia also recently established diplomatic relations with the USA. So the relations between Muslim countries and Jew country Israel getting normalized. So this group called Hamas could not digest the fact that these Muslim countries are ignoring the cause of Palestine. They are not fighting for their brothers Palestinians anymore. So they have resorted to this terror attack. What's unfortunate is that in this resorting to the attack, they have taken innocent civilians as hostages. So uh, these are terrorist tactics. Your cause may be ethical, but your methods are not ethical. Your ends are fine, but your means are not fine because you are resorting to a terrorist methods. You are resorting to torture civilians, innocent people, only to get revenge on a military of the country. So, if you have a problem with the country, go fight them militarily. So that is acceptable. Russia now attacking Ukraine. Russia and Ukraine are at war. Both militaries at war. But Russia is not coming inside Ukraine torturing their civilians. So you cannot call Russia a terrorist organization. But what Hamas is doing, Hamas has captured innocent civilians in the southern part of Israel. So notice this here around this Gaza Strip, this part of Israel, they came out of the Gaza Strip, entered the land of Israel. So they have violated their territorial sovereignty and they have captured innocent civilian people, children, and they have killed some of them and they have taken them back as hostages. So now Israel has attacked the whole Gaza Strip. Now Israel also retaliating very severely. So that is also a problem because now Israel, even being a country, it is also not being responsible because it is attacking civilians in the Gaza Strip also, unintentionally, of course, not in the desperateness to hunt the Hamas terrorist. Israel is also not being responsible. So it is also one of the part of our current editorial today. So you have understood this Abraham Accords and two-state solution. Now India stand. We will see what is India stand. So I hope you have understood the background. So what is India stand? When in 1948 Israel has occupied this whole region and Palestine got reduced. So India has its own nightmares of partition. India got partitioned into India and Pakistan, and this partition came with the horror of communal rights. There are so many communal rights, millions of people died. Historically, the most disturbing communal rights have taken place in Bengal and Punjab. So India supported the human rights of Palestinians because Palestinians were living on this land and Palestinians definitely have the right to have their own country. So India has taken an ethical stand. So Israel must allow Palestinians to coexist. So India has taken a ethical stand and did not establish relations with Israel till 1992 because India seeing Israel as an occupying force. So till 1992 India did not establish diplomatic relations. By 1992 Israel and India both thought that we are similar countries. India and Israel usually on many factors they are similar countries. Both are rising superpowers. So they felt the need to establish diplomatic relations. So in 1992, Israel and India became friends. So we have established diplomatic relations. We have sent our representative to Israel. Now Israel has a representative in India. So uh, the relations between India and Israel and India and Palestine need to be balanced now because now we are having relations with both. So by 2018, India started to treat separately. Whatever the relation, dehyphenation means separation. Whatever the relation between Israel and Palestine, we don't mind, we don't care about it. We want good relations with Israel and we also want good relations with Palestine. So we are dehyphenating. Even there are disputes between those two, we are not having disputes with either of those two, and we are treating our India Israel relations separately and we are treating our India Palestine relations separately. So our Prime Minister Modi has become the first person to visit Israel, first Indian Prime Minister to visit Israel in 2017. He is also the first Prime Minister to visit Palestine in 2018. So he is kind of balancing as per our existing policy. Even in the recent attack on Israel on 7th October, there is a terrorist attack by Hamas. So even after the attack, first what India did was that India has condemned the terrorist attack was Hamas, terrorist attack by Hamas, because the methods it resorted to were not acceptable. So India has outrightly condemned Hamas. But at the same time, India has reminded Israel that it also has the obligation to uphold the international humanitarian law. You cannot, in your hunt of terrorists, you cannot trouble the common people. There are humans and you have to uphold a human rights. So international humanitarian law must be followed, because what Israel is doing, that even in this West Bank, it is slowly sending their people to settle there. It is even not letting the Palestinians to live peacefully even within these borders. It is slowly sending some of these people. Now people first make homes in this border and they slowly continue to move inside. So it is sending more and more Israelis to inside the West Bank, and slowly in an invisible way, slowly it is occupying the West Bank and making Palestinians flee. So it is against human rights. Palestinians have their own right to live. So everyone should stick to the UN recommendation of two-state solution. That is the ultimate solution. Without two-state solution, this kind of terrorist attacks or wars keep happening. So, but this recent terrorist attack will make India's situation more complex, because now there is a rogue terrorist organization. Now there is a country called Israel with a desperateness driven by the revenge, need to revenge, because those politicians, those people who are now ruling the Israel, they need to satisfy their people by conveying that they are not leaving anybody, because now Hamas has attacked Israel, so Israel has to retaliate. So to show their own people, to satisfy the emotions of their people, now Israel is resorting to various drastic measures. Yesterday Israel is making 1 million civilians in Gaza. It is removing 1 million civilians from Gaza Strip so that it can attack the Hamas terrorists more freely. So where will this 1 million people go? Where will they go? They are evacuating these people, but they have no land to go. They cannot enter Israel. They cannot enter Egypt. They cannot go into sea, in the Mediterranean Sea. So it will lead to a humanitarian crisis. The war, whatever is going on between this Hamas and Israel military forces, it will lead to a bigger humanitarian war in the coming days. So now this recent terrorist attack has made this Delhi's art of balance, India's art of balance, more complex. Now it will be more challenging for us. So that is what the current article is about. I hope you have understood. So you can relate to the this current article to the syllabus as I given here. See, you can relate to this GS paper 1 world history. Also physical geography of the world. I have already explained to you how you have to see this geography. Now GS paper 2, international relations, effects of policies and politics of developed and developing countries on India's interest, also Indian diaspora. If you see, now there are almost 20,000 Indians stuck in this Israel and Gaza Strip area. Now we have 20,000 people in this area. Now both of these whole this region is in war. Now India is evacuating all these people. It is called Operation Ajay. India is undertaking something called Operation Ajay. This is important for prelims. This is an evacuation operation by India for Indians in this Israel Gaza region. So we are undertaking an operation called Operation Ajay. So such kind of issues also throw a challenge for our Indian diaspora living in that region. So here is a sample question I have given you. I have already explained everything. You can just attempt it. So there are two related news, but not the exact news as our editorial one. See, our army is studying the tactics used by these Hamas terrorists on Israel so that we can make our own internal security better. So this Hamas attack was unprecedented because they have taken a resort to some unexpected ways. Because see, this is Gaza Strip. Now this is Israel. Nobody expected they move inside the territory of Israel so courageously, because Israel military is very powerful. Israel military and intelligence agents are very powerful. It is like once you enter, na, it is not very easy to get out, but they have somehow entered it and taken hostages and went back. So their planning was very foolproof, and they have outwitted both the military and intelligence agents of Israel. So it is a failure of the Israel intelligence and military organization. So such kind of incident should not happen in India. In 2008, we have seen this 26 by 11 attack. In 2008, we have our own kind of Mumbai terror attack. People came from Western Arabian Sea into the city of Mumbai, and at that time we did not have enough security measures at that time. So we are ensuring such kind of attacks should not happen in India from borders like Pakistan or Bangladesh. Suddenly people cannot come and take Indians hostage. So to prevent such kind of attacks, we are learning the experiences from Israel. So our energy chief is also saying India should learn lessons from this attack so that we can make our internal security better. So just if a question comes from this region of syllabus GS3, just mention this example. Otherwise, it is not related to any current affairs. Just mention this an example. Our next article is dwindling representation of Muslim MPs. So the current issue is that author is saying the representation of Muslim MPs is reducing, and it is a worrying thing. So he is saying recently Women Reservation Act 2023 was passed. This act gives a 33% reservation to women in Lok Sabha in state assemblies also. When this act is passing, it is called bill. When it was passed, it is called act. So when women reservation bill is being passed in parliament, one Muslim MP has raised that it should also have a sub quota for Muslim women. In this 33% reservation for women, it should have a sub quota for Muslim women like it have for SC/ST. In this 33%, there is a reservation for SC/ST based on population wise. It is in the act. It is inserted in the act. But there is no representation or reservation for OBC women or Muslim women. So one Muslim MP has requested for this representation for Muslim women within this act, but it was not accepted. It was ignored. But the author is saying it should have done so. Why? Because he is with so much of data, he is explaining very beautifully something we are ignoring. There is a dark reality which we have been ignoring, and with the help of data, he is putting it. So he is saying, till now, in the whole history of independent India, 690 women MPs were elected, but only 25 of them were from Muslim community. See, such a very, very low. If you take 2011 census, Muslims comprise 14% of total population. Hindus comprise 80.5%, 80.5, 80.5. Muslim comprises 14%. See, so their population is 14%, but if you see the representation, it is less than even 5%. So they are having very poor representation. 25 out of 690 is less than even 5%. So not just the women of Muslim, as raised in the parliament, the whole Muslim community, men or women, everyone is underrepresented in lower house, especially in the lower house means Lok Sabha of the parliament. So since independence, Muslim representation has been far below the community share in the general population of the country. So as I said, in 2011 census, as per the 2011 census, Muslim population is 14% of the total population. So if you take the total parliament seats and if you take 14% out of it, so by that logic, at least 73% of MPs should be Muslims by the logic of proportional representation. So total we have 543. So if you take 14% of this 543, at least 73% should be the reasonable representation for Muslims. But never it crossed even the figure of 50. 73 it never touched, it never even crossed 50. The highest number of Muslim MPs was in 1980 Lok Sabha, when 49 candidates were elected for Lok Sabha. 49 Muslim candidates were elected to Lok Sabha in 1980. That is the historical highest. So In the history of independent India, Muslim MPs never got their due representation. So that is what the author is saying. If you take the 16th Lok Sabha, so the first term of the NDA government after 2014, only 23 Muslim MPs in present in Lok Sabha. If you take the 17th Lok Sabha, ongoing Lok Sabha after 2019, so the 17th Lok Sabha is the ongoing one. If you take the 17th Lok Sabha, there are 25 Muslim MPs in the parliament, whole Muslim MPs, not just Muslim women. Okay, so even if you take within Muslim MPs, Islam also, like all other religions in India, is a patriarchal religion, so it will be having mostly male representation only. So Muslims are very poorly represented. Among Muslims, Muslim women are further poorly represented. So this is a very big issue. And worst of all, that after 2019 election, there was not a single Muslim MP elected from the ruling party. So the government has no official representation, elected representation from Muslim community. So he continues to say, there are many states in India. In the total of 28 states and 8 union territories we have right now, many states does not even have a representation from their states even after they are having 10% Muslim population. So they have a minimum of 10% Muslim representation, this Gujarat and Uttarakhand, but there is not a single MP elected from these states. And now he is explaining the causes behind this phenomena. He is saying primarily two reasons. One is reservation, one is gerrymandering. I will explain both. First, what is this reservation? Under Article 330, we reserve seats for SCs and STs in Parliament. In Lok Sabha, under Article 330, seats were reserved for SCs and STs in Lok Sabha. Similarly, under Article 332, we reserve seats for SCs and STs in state assemblies. So, under these two articles, reservation for SCs and STs was granted by the Constitution. So, author is saying many a times what is happening is that where there are Muslims are higher in number. So, in a locality, in a parliamentary constituency, 52% are Muslims. Okay, 20 to 30% are Hindus. Hindus are, let's say, 30%. 10% are STs. So here is a genuine opportunity for a Muslim MP to get elected. But these regions are made as reserved for SCs or ST. So a person, a Dalit, if gets converted into Islam, he is not given that SC status anymore as per the government law. So a person can get the recognition of a SC only when he is under the fold of Hindu religion. So even if the Muslim people are majority here, if this region even have a minimum of 10% of SC representation, for political reasons, it was being made a reserved SC constituency. So when it is made a SC constituency, all these Muslims cannot have their representative. Occasionally also. So continuously it is being made SC or ST constituency. So the Muslims are not having a genuine opportunity to get elected because they get elected only where they are majority. So where they are majority, they are being reserved for SCs and STs. So a genuine opportunity is being denied to them. So that is what the author is saying. Similarly, there is another phenomenon called gerrymandering. What is gerrymandering? So gerrymandering comes when we talk about delimitation. So first you have to understand what is delimitation. So this is a state. So let's take a state. Let's take, this is Telangana. Let's say this is the state of Telangana. Just take for example. Now you have to divide this Telangana region into 17 MP seats. Constitution as per the seat sharing in Lok Sabha, Telangana region was given 17 MP seats. So now you have to divide Telangana into 17 MP seats. How you will divide it? Who will decide it? The government of India, the parliament will appoint delimitation commission, something called delimitation commission. And this delimitation commission, with the help of guidance of election commission, will divide this constitution. So this process is called delimitation. So who decides whether a communities should be divided this geographical wise in this way or this way? Who will decide how to divide? So let's understand this pattern. So let's think this is a geography. Now it has 1 2 3 4 5 6. This is the Muslim distribution. So if you take a geography horizontally, you can find a Muslim dominated region. But let's say here is a Hindu communities. Here are Hindu communities. I'm just explaining example. So if you take vertically, now all the Muslims will become minority in all these regions. You understood? So if you take this part, Muslims are there, but they are in minority because in the rest of the region, Hindus are in majority. So if a person can do other way also. So if some politically motivated people do this delimitation under the political pressure, they can resort to a practice called gerrymandering, and they can artificially manipulate to ensure some communities get low representation in that particular geography. So that is what gerrymandering. So now the author is saying this gerrymandering is a reality in India. So recently in Jammu and Kashmir and Assam, delimitation was conducted. So he is saying in Assam, he is giving an example. Earlier Muslim dominated seats were 29. 29 parliamentary constituencies were dominated by Muslims, but after this delimitation it fell into 2022. That means he is saying delimitation commission has divided this particular region so that the number of Muslim dominated regions are less, so they have resorted to gerrymandering. So that is what author is saying. So this reservation and gerrymandering are one of the few reasons, and another main reason is that our own political system itself is against Muslims because our political mobilization is mostly based on religion and caste. So when you mobilize people based on caste, you want support of caste who are more in number in higher in numerical majority. So who are majority in numerical numbers. So if a caste A has higher numbers than caste B, politicians ignore caste B and they try to satiate caste A. Similarly, when some parties resort to religious politics, this we see often in India. Both phenomenon are seen in India. So they want only the votes of majority community. So they try to polarize. So they don't want even the votes of minority community because they want to consolidate the votes of majority community, and they want to win election just by the majority vote. So our whole system itself is biased against Muslims and other minorities. So he is saying another two examples he is giving. Now there is a case called Shah Bano case in 1980s. What is this Shah Bano case? In 1980s, there was a woman Shah Bano and she was divorced by her husband. So her husband gave her a divorce and she has no support after the divorce. But her husband refused to give that financial support to her. So she went to court. That case ultimately went to Supreme Court, and Supreme Court gave a judgment in her favor. Supreme Court said husband has to support her. He cannot leave her immediately like that. She has a right to alimony. So Supreme Court ruled in favor of the Shaban. But the government, Rajiv Gandhi government at that time, to get the Muslim votes. So that is why even till that Congress was alleged to be resorting to minority appeasement. There are other parties who resort to majority appeasement also, but this was a real fact happened in history. Rajiv Gandhi government resorted to minority appeasement, and they have brought a law to counter the Supreme Court judgment. And they are saying there is something called Waqf board in Muslim communities. So this Waqf board should give the alimony, not the husband or relatives. Just a minute. So this husband or relatives need not to give the alimony to the wife, Waqf board should give the alimony. So Waqf board is a common property board managing common property of Muslims. You can Google more about it if you want to know. So this is kind of unfair judgment because it is an injustice to the many women who got divorced by their husbands. So that is why it is a kind of starting point for communal mobilization in India. So that is altogether a different topic. So during this Shah Bano case, there was no single Muslim MP in Indian Parliament to represent the case of Shah Bano. There was no debate being participated by the Muslim women. All men are talking, all Muslim men are talking, all Hindu men are talking, but there was no single Muslim woman in Parliament at that time to highlight the plight of the Shah Bano. Similarly, recently, Triple Talaq Bill was passed. In 2019, Triple Talaq Bill was passed. In this, there is something called instant Triple Talaq. There is something called instant Triple Talaq in Muslim personal law. Personal law is something followed by the religious members themselves. It is not mandated by law. So, it is not mandated by law means it is historically existing. Law may codify it or not codify it. So, in Muslim personal law, there was something called instant Triple Talaq. As per instant Triple Talaq, husband can say talak, talak, talak instantly. He can just pronounce a word called talak, which is means divorce, thrice continuously in 3 seconds, and that means the woman is divorced. That means he can instantly divorce a wife. Otherwise, if you take the case of Hindus has to go to the court and Hindus has to go all the procedure of Hindus has to go through the whole procedure of divorce. But in this instant triple talaq practice, a Muslim man can instantly divorce the woman. So that is a kind of injustice. So using this triple talaq bill in 2019, that practice of triple talaq was lawfully banned. So no one can use this instant triple talaq now in India. Even when this billing passed, there was no woman MP representing the government to support the bill. It is a bill in the support of Muslim women, but there was no Muslim MP, Muslim woman representing the government to support the bill. So the poor representation is affecting the legitimacy of the bills because we are debating, we are saying this is for their benefit, but we are not giving voice to them. So the Muslim women and our normal Muslim MPs not present there even on issues related to them. So that is what the author is highlighting. So it is saying, author is saying this lopsided representation puts a Indian democracy in a bad light because not so favorable bad light because a democracy means the very reason of implementing democracy to you give voice for all. Everyone votes counts equally. Everyone vote counts equally. But when you make Muslim votes invalid, how can you call it a democracy? Again, the same story. Whatever happened with these two bills, the same was repeated in the women reservation bill. There was no Muslim MP, woman MP. One male MP has raised the issue. It is also ignored. So the feedback from the Muslims were not taken even in the women reservation bill. So author is saying it is time to make changes in the system because there are some systemic issues against the Muslims. So it is time to change the system that made Muslim MPs invisible. So you just have to use the data. Basically, this whole thing is related to the problems of minorities. There is one thing called Sachar committee. You can refer to that. There is one thing called Sachar committee. I think it is in 2006. So Sachar committee. Just note that there is something called Sachar committee. So this Sachar committee conducts a detailed study and conveys that Muslims are very poorly represented in jobs and education also. In employment and education also, Muslims are very poorly represented. So that is one of the reasons they are remaining backward. Fundamental reason why Muslims are remaining backward because it is related with the fundamentalism in Islam. So it is their internal reason. Fundamentalism is an internal reason, but there are some systemic issues also. Being a minority, what are the systemic issues? Being a minority, they are not getting do representation in jobs, education, and in this article author is also highlighting political wise. So the representation of Muslims in employment, education, and politics is very poor. That is the conclusion. So you can relate this whole thing to the GS1 diversity of India, social empowerment, and GS2 government policies and interventions. And here is a practice question. You can practice. We have already discussed it. So that is it. The main articles are over. Just one, there is one article. You can directly read it. I just want to highlight the fact. This article does not have any content, but I thought this article is related to multiple parts in our syllabus, mains and prelims wise. So I will just guide you on how to read it. Just read the further slide. So there was recently some flash floods in Sikkim. So there is a lake. So this is a glacier. When a glacier got melted, all the water accumulates and forms a lake. So this lake normally it is not a manually constructed dam. All the rocks and all the sediments material bounce it. So it looks like a lake, but it is not a lake. Here is the water gets accumulated. So this is a naturally formed dam, but it is very vulnerable because it is not a specifically constructed dam. So for same reasons, when the melting is very high or there is a sudden rain, this dam gets burst. So it is called glacial lake outburst flood, and when it gets bursted, all the lower regions gets flooded. So that is what happened in Sikkim. In further slides, I have added diagrams and explained in detail also. So you just read it. It is very plain reading only. So this Sikkim flash floods has led to death of many people. So you can link this to our syllabus of GS paper 1, important geophysical phenomena. So here is the glacial lake outburst, glacial lake outburst flood. This is the geophysical phenomenon here. You can also relate this to Indian geography because this lake outburst. So which lake outburst? This South Lonak Lake got bursted. So if in prelims if there is a question, this South Lonak Lake recently in news is in which state? He will give four options: West Bengal, Sikkim, Manipur, or Himachal Pradesh. So you should be able to identify the answer. South Lonak Lake in Sikkim because it is in blue. So this South Lonak Lake, which formed from a glacier, got bursted, and all the water from it went to Tista River, and this Tista River has resulted this flooding of water into Tista River got floods on the downstream. Whoever the people living on the edges or banks of this Tista River faced these floods. So you should read about a brief about Tista River system. I have provided briefly. Please read it in the next slide. So I have explained you glacial lake outburst flood. I have explained this also in detail in further slides. Just give a plain reading. So just keep an eye on Sikkim geography. So here is a glacial lake outburst. Here is a Tista River system. So see there Sikkim. So Sikkim basically touches only one union state, West Bengal. On the left side is Nepal, north side is China, southeast side there is Bhutan. Okay, so here is a Nathula Pass. Passes are important for geography prelims, UPSC prelims. So there is a Tista River here. See, so this Tista River comes like that. Now this Tista River got floods. So this Tista River originates in Jemu Glacier, Himalayas. So please read it. So thank you everyone. That is with the editorials in the Hindu tomorrow, Hindu for today. So I will upload another video with the details of all the news related to prelims, important to prelims this year. So all the news of prelims dated 14th October will be uploaded as a separate video. So this video is limited to the editorials. So please keep following us, recommend us to your friends. We will keep uploading high quality videos like this.